Okay, so today we're diving into a powerful framework for what to do when your boundaries are constantly getting stomped on. This isn't just about learning to say no. It's about literally redesigning the architecture of your relationships from the ground up, all built on self-respect.
You know the feeling, right? That slow burn frustration when someone, maybe a friend, a family member, even a partner, just keeps crossing the same line. You've talked about it, you've probably even argued about it, but nothing changes. It can leave you feeling kind of helpless. So what do you do when it happens again?
All right, first things first, let's talk about what boundaries really are. You can think of them as your own personal invisible fences. And this is a really important idea. They're not about building giant walls to keep people out. They're actually crucial for any healthy relationship to even exist.
The key phrase here is personal sovereignty. I mean, that's a powerful concept, isn't it? It's your fundamental right to be the ruler of your own emotional and physical space. Boundaries are simply how you communicate the laws of your land. They tell people what's okay and what's absolutely not okay for you.
So, how do we start building and defending these fences? Well, that brings us to phase 1, fortifying yourself. And here's the twist. The most important part of this whole process happens inside your own head before you ever open your mouth to confront anyone.
I love this metaphor because it's just so true. If you go into this feeling guilty or unsure if you even have the right to set a boundary, it's all going to collapse. The second someone pushes back, that sandy foundation will just wash away. So the real work, the hard work, has to start inside.
Okay, so what does that inner work look like? It's a 3-step process to get you from that foggy, confused feeling to crystal clear. First, you have to name the specific behavior. No more generalizations. Second, you have to validate your own right to be upset. You don't need a committee to approve your feelings. And third, and this is a big one, you shift the burden. It's not on you to endlessly explain and justify your boundary, it's on them to respect it.
And here's exactly what that clarity looks like in practice. Saying, I want you to be more respectful is, well, it's kind of useless, right? It's vague, it's easy to argue with. But saying, I need you to stop making comments about my body, that is solid ground. It's specific, it's non-negotiable, and it gives you a firm position to stand on.
Now, a really critical piece of this internal prep is getting ready for the pushback. Because let's be real, it's probably coming. When you suddenly change the rules of a relationship, the other person, who was benefiting from the old rules, is not going to be thrilled. So expect it all. The anger, the guilt trips, or my personal favorite, the sudden love bombing, where they're suddenly your best friend. Just remember, their reaction is not your problem to solve.
All right, once you feel solid inside, once that foundation is rock hard, then we can move to phase 2, the final conversation. Notice the word final. This isn't another round of pleading. This is a calm, clear statement of a new reality. And this conversation has a very specific structure, a 4-step toolkit. 1, you state the fact, just the objective behavior. 2, you state the impact, how that behavior makes you feel. 3, you state the consequence, and this is crucial. It's the action you will take if it happens again. And 4, the exit. You deliver the message and you walk away. This is a declaration, not a debate.
Let's look at an example. The first one, you're so selfish, that's just an attack. It invites a fight. But the second one, it's pure power. When you do X, I feel Y. If it happens again, I will do Z. See the shift? The consequence isn't about punishing them, it's about you protecting yourself. I will leave. You're taking your power back.
Now, during this conversation, you have to be on high alert for the jade trap. That's justify, argue, defend, or explain. The second you start doing any of those things, you've lost. You've basically put your boundary up for debate, and it's not debatable. You state it, and then you get comfortable with the silence.
And you can bet on this, your boundary will be tested. It's almost guaranteed. They'll show up 15 minutes late again. They'll make that passive-aggressive comment. And that right there, that's the moment of truth. You have to follow through with your consequence. Immediately. No hesitation, no more warnings. This is the moment that makes the boundary real.
Okay, but what happens if you do all of that perfectly and they still don't respect the boundary? Well, that's when we have to go deeper. Welcome to Phase 3, redesigning the relationship. This is where we stop relying on their cooperation and start making structural changes.
This is such a simple but profound idea. If communication isn't working, the only real solution is to reduce their access to you.
And this isn't about being mean or vengeful. It's just a practical, protective strategy. You control the flow of information. You control the frequency of contact. You are the architect of the interaction now.
One really effective tactic for this is called the gray rock method. Some people just feed on drama. They need that emotional reaction from you. So you give them nothing. You become as boring and uninteresting as a plain gray rock. You give short, factual, unemotional answers. When the interaction becomes totally unrewarding for them, they'll usually just get bored and go look for drama somewhere else.
And sometimes, redesigning the relationship means ending it. For really severe, repeated boundary violations, walking away isn't an act of hate or a sign of failure. It is the ultimate act of self-love. It's you standing up and saying, I will be my own protector.
So you can see, this whole three-phase process, it's not just a quick fix for one annoying person. It's actually a blueprint for a whole new way of living, a new normal that's built on a foundation of self-respect.
And this is the deep philosophical shift at the heart of it all. You move from a life of people-pleasing, where you're constantly looking outside yourself for approval, to a life of, let's call it, sovereign integrity. A life where your sense of worth comes from the inside, from your respect for yourself.
And I've got to say, this process is going to feel uncomfortable. It just is. You're changing lifelong patterns. But you have to learn to reframe that discomfort. It's not a warning sign that you're being mean or doing something wrong. It's the opposite. It's the sound of your self-respect growing stronger. It's a growing pain.
So let's end on this powerful idea. The goal of all this work isn't to somehow create a life that's totally free of conflict. That's impossible. The goal is to build a life where conflict doesn't destroy you, where it doesn't come at the cost of your soul. It's about building an architecture of self-respect so solid that no one can tear it down, so that you are always and forever the sovereign of your own life.